Hello everyone, this is Crypto Maximalist. Welcome back to another video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and get involved if you like the content. So we're just taking a quick look at the markets here. On CoinMarketCap, you can see obviously over the past, 7 days? Over the past few days really, we have seen a little bit of a breakout of some key levels of resistance on the chart from what we can tell. You can obviously see we have come up here. If you look at the last 7 days on this little Bitcoin chart, for example, you can see we have had a nice little rally. Coming up, we're just consolidating at the minute, trying to figure out the next move in the market. We'll probably have a little bit of a retracement if we are going to see more upside, but overall nice to see some green in the market for a change, as it has been quite a while since we've seen a lot of green in the market in general. It's pretty obvious to me that, we've been consolidating for a long time, still chopping it sideways. Obviously, we've got a little bit of volume returning into the markets, which is good to see. But in general, for the most part, still chopping it sideways, having a little bit of a renaissance and a bit of a rally over the past few days. Probably, in part to do with some of the news that we are going to cover today. Obviously, we do know that the UK is looking favorably on cryptocurrencies. That news dropped a few days ago, and we did see potentially a bit of a rally in the markets because of that. A nice little bit of news which has pumped the markets up a decent amount from what we can tell. Obviously, you can see here Bitcoin up at around 8%, Ethereum up around 20%, which is great to see. A lot of altcoins also benefiting from this, and we have seen Dogecoin start to fly in regards to the news that Elon Musk is potentially, buying Twitter very soon. And if we do see that happen, we will see those integrations potentially for Doge on the platform as a payment option, which is obviously pumping the price right now. You can see we are starting to get fairly parabolic on this. We did it's been sitting at around, I can't exactly remember, but I think it's around 5 cents. Yeah, 5 or 6 cents for a long time here. Came down and consolidated for a good while. You can see here, like Bitcoin, it has just been chopping sideways and consolidating for a long while here. You can see we were up around 60, 70 cents when we at some point, this massive, ridiculous spike up here. I mean, this is the most ridiculous parabolic move that I saw in a long time. So congratulations to anyone who sold anywhere near the top here. Anywhere above 50 cents would have been a big win. You can see we've come down, retraced to that key level of support in and around this area here, and we have just been chopping up in that area since then at around 6 cents. Obviously, if we did see a 10x, that would be back towards the all-time high. Very achievable considering we got there pretty much on hype alone. Dogecoin being, essentially a meme coin. So in reality, looking at the markets in general, we are seeing some decent upside. A lot of coins, starting to see a little bit of a run to the upside. Shiba Inu also benefiting from that as well. You can see a lot of cryptos here up over 10%, 5 or 10% here. Avalanche, Uniswap, Litecoin, Cosmos, Chainlink, all, great. There are a lot of great cryptocurrencies in this top 20, 30 in our opinion. They're probably going to do 5 or 10x's as time goes on. So just taking a look at some moves, looking at some news. Sorry, my goodness, I can't speak today. First mover Americas, Bitcoin and Ethereum surge on a short squeeze. So this is what we were talking about. Obviously, we had a bit of positive news in the markets, and we have seen, I think it's around over $500 million worth of shorts now being liquidated, which is obviously a big thing in the markets. There's been a huge amount of people shorting Bitcoin, but they have been shorting the support, haven't they? And it's always risky when you long at resistance, short at support. Everyone thinks that the price is just going to go down forever, and usually, when everyone gets super bearish, that is usually when people do start to get very wrecked. And we can see quite clearly, if we take just a quick skim of the chart here, that we have been going sideways like this for a long while. So anyone that's shorting this area here, they are opening themselves up to a lot of risk if we do see a big reversal. And, it's pretty obvious that has been the case. A lot of shorts being liquidated. Here we go. A $745 million worth of short liquidations over the last 24 hours just on FTX. So there's probably, there we go, 908 million short liquidations across all exchanges. So a massive amount of shorts being liquidated. Obviously, we have seen a lot of potential news regarding FTX and some sketchy goings on, which we won't delve into too much, but that could be the reason why there's so many liquidations specifically on FTX. But from what we can tell, all of this has contributed to a nice little move up to the upside in the market, which is has been well needed, really, a bit of respite, considering that everyone's getting pretty concerned that we were hovering down at this low level here at the bottom of this range for a good while. So coming back up to test the top of the range, obviously never a bad thing here. More news here, we can see Singapore proposes crypto rules to bolster consumer protection. Obviously, regulation, we're obviously it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because obviously regulation comes with certain stringent procedures and restrictions potentially on cryptocurrency, but it also enables it to be coming into the mainstream, which will probably benefit long-term investors in top cryptocurrencies as more and more money flows into the space over time as well. So it's a double-edged sword, but we do think regulation overall is probably going to be a good thing. And we do need it in the end if we do want crypto to, get that legitimacy of not being the Wild West, but actually coming through and being a legitimate financial set of instruments that will be used by, potentially billions of people around the world in the next 5 or 10 years. So something that you do like to see if you're thinking about the long term for cryptocurrency and the bigger picture. As we said just before, Dogecoin soars as Elon Musk's Twitter deal nears completion. So this is obviously something that we have been watching quite carefully. Dogecoin having a big affiliation to Elon Musk. Obviously Elon Musk and his acquisition of Twitter looking like it is going to go through pretty damn soon. And if that is the case, he has alluded before to the fact that he might be using Dogecoin as a payment option on Twitter or a payment option in general for Tesla. So this kind of information is obviously interesting, and it's interesting to see how much Dogecoin has reacted to this news. It has been pumping up a fair amount. I think it's up from 5 or 6 cents up to around 10 cents in the past few days, which is a pretty, amazing turn up really. And it looks as though, this upside may continue for Dogecoin for quite some while, especially if we do seem to see a lot more bullish news involving it. You can see the popular meme coin Dogecoin was nearly up 16% over the past 24 hours as billionaire Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter approached the finish line. The Tesla founder's $44 million, I think this is actually 44 billion, isn't it? $44 billion deal is supposed to close Friday. Musk has been a major supporter of Doge, which has become a proxy for sentiment about him. The entrepreneur's statements about the token have also consistently influenced its price. So you can see quite clearly that Elon Musk news and Dogecoin has quite a tight correlation. And as a result, you can see that we have seen some upside for Dogecoin as a result of this, you would say, bullish news about Elon Musk. So next piece of news here, DeFi Pioneer echoes SBF in call for tighter crypto regulation. So obviously, as we said before, regulation is a double-edged sword for cryptocurrency. You do want to see more regulation for crypto so it can come into the mainstream, but having overly stringent measures in order to suppress it in other terms of centralization, etc. These are things that you don't really want to see for cryptocurrency, else it will lose some of its inherent value as being outside of the traditional financial system. So there is going to be an element of compromise, we do think, for the future. Crypto is going to have to come into the mainstream and be fully regulated in different ways in different countries, etc. But we do think that this is something that is probably going to happen sooner rather than later. We've already seen that the UK is coming out saying that it is crypto friendly now, and it really wants to get a good framework for cryptocurrency in the UK. This is something that we probably need all over the world, really, so that we can see a bit more regulation of projects that are bad actors, but then also bringing those real and good projects for the long term into the mainstream. Getting that mainstream adoption and investment would be really, really positive for all the big cryptos, Bitcoin, Ethereum. You could probably see them going up a lot, and I mean a lot, over the next 5 to 10 years if we do get those real segues into the mainstream. So this is the kind of thing that you do want to be seeing. As we said, a double-edged sword, but we do think it's probably for the best in the long term for cryptocurrency to have more regulation. As we can see, something that we spoke about in our last few videos, Bitcoin price soars as the UK votes to recognise crypto. I'm from the UK, and it has been and is generally a thing in the UK that cryptocurrency has been frowned upon heavily by the government and also by big centralised banks. They hate cryptocurrency, as we've said before. My personal bank, HSBC, absolutely hates crypto, and it took me a long time to actually interact with it, with any platforms that would actually be to do with cryptocurrency, because basically my bank would just hate and block any transactions that would interact with any of these platforms. So this is a big move in the right direction to bringing crypto into the mainstream, something we've talked about in our previous videos. This is exactly what we were just saying. United Kingdom banks hate crypto, and that's bad news for everyone. Obviously, they have been trying to suppress crypto adoption in the UK, at least as far as my personal viewpoint and many people that I know. Interacting with platforms like Binance was next to impossible a few years ago if you had a bank account that was HSBC, for example. they would just straight up block the transactions or say that you're not allowed to actually invest in these products, which was absolutely ridiculous. You can see that basically there was a lot of suppression of being able to interact with these platforms, and you can see here restricting individuals' freedoms, which is what it felt like. Very, very ridiculous, considering that these banks are testing, you know, cryptos like XRP on the back end, but they're not offering it or allowing people to use their own money to purchase these commodities or instruments, which is, you know, a massive, massive, you know, contradiction in general. But we know big banks have been playing it on either side of the debate for a long while now, and it will continue into the future. You can see here, UK seeks to regulate Bitcoin, crypto similar to current financial instruments. As we've been saying, the UK looking as though it wants to be crypto friendly, making itself a crypto hub in the world. Something that I'm very, very pleased about, because this is something that has been, you know, very, very problematic for me personally. A few more bits of news that we found. Vietnam's prime minister says country needs to regulate crypto. So obviously this big narrative that we're seeing, crypto regulations all around the world, people saying that they need to recognize and regulate crypto effectively, and this will essentially bring it into the mainstream. We don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing, most likely a positive thing for crypto in general in the long term, as we've said before. And our final piece of news that we've been looking at over the past few days is Apple reveals their new App Store rules for cryptocurrencies and NFTs. We've obviously seen a bit of debates recently about Apple and what they actually allow on iOS and on the App Store, but we do think that, you know, the fact that they are looking at crypto and NFTs and ways to regulate it, we do think this is probably, again, going to be a positive thing in the long term. The fact that crypto is getting recognition by these big platforms, and the fact that it does need to, you know, basically have a proper say in the future of finance being on these platforms as well, especially NFTs. We all know how big NFTs got during the, you know, the peak of the bull run, and these things will be back. So it'll be interesting to see how these stories develop over the next few months and years. So a quick look at the technicals then, just to finish off for Bitcoin. We could see here, as we said before, still chopping it up in this range, chopping it up, you know, high, low, high, low. We come up, we break out, but we get that false breakout of the range itself, come back down, low, high, low, and now it looks as though we are breaking up to the upside again to retest this high at around that 22.5k level, where we've been chopping it up for a long, long time. As we said before, breaking out of some key resistances here. We'd say, you know, this resistance here, 1, 2, 3, and then finally getting the breakout here was very, very critical in our opinion. At least to come back up and retest the top of the range at 22.5k, maybe even this swing high here around that 25k level. I do think if we came up, you know, broke this 25k-ish level here, got the back test, that we could potentially be looking at a scenario where we have a double bottom like this. Let me just get rid of that other squiggly line because it's annoying me. A double bottom like this, where, you know, you come down, you break up, you come back, yeah, and you retest the low, then you come up, you make a higher high here, so then your trend change is officially there, isn't it? So you got your higher high, your same low, and then your higher high again, and then higher low, and then you reverse your trend like this, which would be something that we'd like to see. Obviously, no confirmations of anything yet. It's way too early to tell if it's the bottom, if the bottom is actually in for Bitcoin here. And obviously, as we've been saying before, if we do lose this low with a good amount of volume down at around this 18 to 17k-ish area here, something like this, the next key level of support is in this range here, from around that 11-ish k to that 13k level, which would be the target. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you check out the links in the description below to support the channel. Grab yourself some free money bonuses, and we'll see you in the next video.